Hello, everyone. It's me, Demetra K, and I'm sitting here with Donovan. His heart don't pump no Kool-Aid Sadiq.
None.
I think we need to change your name. Donovan, the bank is closed. Sadiq,
Right,
okay?
right. Something.
Donovan, the bank is closed.
Bank
Sadiq.
is closed.
right.
And the rent's too damn high.
Right, and so is the damn gas in Southern California. Well, hell, all of California. But anyway, so welcome to the second edition of Don't Believe the Hype on this fine Tuesday, April 23rd, where we ask you to go beneath the surface, go behind the memes, and all the stuff that you see and hear, and make sure it's true for yourself, right? Google, the library, even, what a concept, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever, newspaper, whatever. Ask a friend to see if the information is what it presents itself to be. And so anyway, as you guys can see, our topic is having to do with forgiveness. Okay, so specifically, why do black people, well, we know you ain't going to forgive just right now. Just take notes, okay?
Gotcha.
So, the question is, why do black people forgive so easily? All right, now what has me asking this question, right?
Yes.
Tomorrow, John King. Well, who's John King? Not the
CNN.
one. No, not that guy on
Okay.
CNN. John William King.
Okay.
He is going to be executed for the lynching, the 1998 lynching of James Byrd. Remember James
That's
Byrd?
right. He was dragged on the thing, right?
The black man that was dragged up to 3 miles by a truck full of white boys.
And decapitated.
Yeah, his body was dismembered. So he was dragged up to 3 miles. They being the authorities or whoever, found his badly dismembered body from being dragged and laid or placed at a church. They placed his remains at a church. And so as they were, and actually they said they followed the blood trails and, the parts and stuff. In fact, this is where they found the body. And so what happened was, on the night that James Byrd was murdered, lynched by these white boys, I guess they met him at a bar. I think he kind of roundabout knew one of them. And it was 2 a.m. and they were leaving the bar. He gets a ride home. There's 3 of the guys in the truck. And so James Byrd, a witness saw him getting in the back and leaving with these guys, which is how they, was one of the reasons how they caught them, the 3 guys. They found like cigarette butts and just a whole bunch of stuff that they left behind during the commission of the murder. And so, tomorrow, he is to be, the second guy. One guy was executed in 2011. The second one is going to be, my mic, the second guy is going to be executed tomorrow. He obviously has exhausted all of his appeals and things like that. He's saying that he's not guilty. That's what he said. He's stuck to the fact that he's not guilty. And I'll just give you a little background on his story as well. Now, he being James King, not the one on CNN, James King spent some time in prison. Now, when he was in prison, his peoples, the white Aryan nation, because they have those in prison, the gangs, had it to where they had the guards. They set it up to where the guards put him in a cell or in an area with black dudes, the black inmates, and they repeatedly raped him. And, did horrible things to him. But this was done by design by his brothers to piss him off to the point to where when they got him back, they can condition him into hating and eventually killing, because they said he was out, I don't know, maybe 6 months at the most when this crime took place. The crime of dragging James Byrd and doing all these things. And so he had tattoos and stuff as far as being linked to the Cyclops. Or he was a Cyclops in the Klan and all this other stuff. So it's no secret to who he was and what his agenda was. Okay. So now, and I'll give you guys another story before I come back to why I'm asking the question, why do we forgive so easily? We also heard the last month or so that there were 3 black churches burned down in the South. 3 historical black churches who have been in the news recently because now they have been able to raise, through a GoFundMe, a little over $2 million due to the church in Notre Dame burning down, because people were like, well, what about the black churches? And so they raised money for that too. And so this past Easter, one of the churches had their Easter service outside of the burnt building. And they're doing their regular thing, going to church service and stuff. So the press was there, and the press interviewed the press interviewed the ladies and stuff, this, that, and the other, people going to the church. And they said that they're praying for them. They're praying for the guy. What is his name? I think I should give their name. Holden Matthews.
Yeah. Are the people praying for him? Is that from Generation Fail?
Well, we'll get to that. Okay. So Holden Matthews is the guy. It's 21 years old who is suspected of burning the churches. His father is actually a sheriff. Mm-hmm.
What a surprise!
These churches in Louisiana. He's a sheriff.
What a surprise!
So they've caught him, and so. During the service, the pastor said, we need to pray for him. I couldn't imagine, what he's going through. Can't imagine with his family. And I'm paraphrasing.
You got to put yourself in a white man's shoes. Dealing with you Negroes.
Well, he pretty much said that, I can imagine we need to pray for them. It must be a horrible time for his family. And what's this young man going through?
Yes.
And, the ladies and amen, to double down on, oh gosh, we just want to pray for him. Now, going back to James Byrd, his sister, Betty, I believe that was her name. Yeah, Betty, and his son Ross said they forgave the murders of their brother and his father 13 years ago. And you can't solve what was the quote that they said? You can't fight murder with murder. And so basically, they're saying they're not wanting the death penalty. They want him to spend the rest of his life in prison, but they've forgiven him, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with us? Mm-hmm. And this is the other part of it too.
What's wrong with you?
James King, he actually wrote a note to one of the other guys. I'm not for sure which one it was that was in the commission of the lynching with him, and wrote to them and said, quote, "We have made history and shall die proudly remembered." That was a note that was intercepted from, I guess, the guards or something, that he was writing to his fellow murderers after they did this to this man. So basically saying, yeah, we're going to die, but our people, whoever those are, I'm assuming it's the white Aryan nation, whoever they're associated with, will remember them and think that was good of what they did to this man who, James, thought that, I think it was the one that was executed a couple years ago, was his friend. Because if people were like, well, why would he get in the truck with him? It's because they were associates to some degree. Right. I don't know how well they knew each other, but it was said, I don't know if it's true, but it was said that they were friends, which is why he jumped in a truck. Mm-hmm. In Waco, Texas, of all places, yeehaw, where the, Klan country.
And the cult members all of that burned out.
Why? Because people are saying, well, why would he jump in the truck of these 3 white boys that he doesn't know at 2 a.m? It's because they said that he knew one of them. Ain't nobody jumping in no truck thinking they're going to be
killed, right?
If I'm thinking I'm going to be killed, I don't think I'm going to be thinking that, because this is what they did to him. They're going to wrap chains around his body. Bless you. Wrap chains around his body and drag him behind a pickup truck 3 miles. Can you imagine? Just what kind of a monster do you have to be sitting in the cab of that truck? And you're just pulling off with this man tied to chains, and he's screaming and he's wailing and he's pleading, and you are in there with your 2 friends, hee ha ha, getting that nigger 3 miles.
And what did this man do to deserve to be killed that
way? He was
way?
black. Right. He was black because, like I said, the reason why I told you that horrific story of him being gang raped repeatedly by the this is what they say, the black inmates, is because they being his brotherhood, the Aryan Nation, wanted him to be so filled with hate that when they did get him back, they can program him to being a killer of black people. And they said, unfortunately, James was just the guy that he took that out on, because as I said earlier, he wasn't out, he being James King wasn't out that long. So as I said, one of the guys that was in the truck has been executed in 2011. James King is going to be executed tomorrow through lethal injection. And then the other guy, who I guess they deem to have minimal, he's in the truck anyway, he got life without the possibility of parole. And so these 2 stories are just 1 or 2 of many, rather. I mean, we can even take it back to, it was 2014 with Dylan Roof, when he went into the church and killed 9 black people as they were already praying. They stood up at a podium and said, we forgive him. We forgive him, and we don't, matter of fact, they forgave him and didn't want the death penalty. I'm just like, and I think about when, Farrakhan referenced the issue. He says, why are we always forgiving people who are not even asking for it? Mm-hmm. Here this guy, James King, writes a letter to his friend saying, well, we're going to be proudly remembered for what we did. And it's like, but you forgave this dude? Why? And it's funny because somebody called me a couple days ago asking me about forgiveness because he says, well, we're always being told you have to forgive if you want to go to heaven. You have to forgive. And I said, you know what?
No,
I used to believe and you have to forgive.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have to digress with that real quick.
Go ahead.
And then let me say something here. If you read the Bible correctly, and everybody has a different interpretation of what correct is and which Bible it is, Northern Bible, Southern Bible, whatever these Bibles are. If you read the text, and they're pretty much generally the same, Jesus said it is better to forgive. But if you have to have vengeance, it has to be within the law that Caesar has parlayed, or like in the Old Testament, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, whatever. No more than what you need to get. Yes, Jesus did say it is best to forgive. But he also said if you can't do it, it has to be within these parameters. And that's in the Bible.
Well, I don't know all the Bible, but it says to forgive. And then when it says how many, was it 7 times? Seven something. I probably got the numbers wrong. But basically, as much as you need to forgive, you have a lot of people, I guess I should digress. Forgiveness is to pardon, to restore. That person is totally redeemed. And so when I was taught about forgiveness, I was taught that the person should be put back into you guys' original state.
Right.
That when you forgive, you totally wipe it clean. Like they say, you can forgive and never forget. Well, how do you do that? How do I forgive you and then forget? Let's say I am a relative of James Byrd. I'm never going to forget why my father is gone or my brother. I'm never going to forget that. And not only am I never going to forget that, I'm going to remember what was done to him. So that to me is just, I want to be real. I would never forgive anybody who did something like that to anybody that I loved and cherished. And that I just wouldn't know. I wouldn't have the cape. I would be lying if I said, well, I forgive you.
And it's not a sin not to forgive a person. That's not a sin.
Right. I mean, it's just some things I feel are unforgivable.
Right. Because we're humans. So that's not a sin not to forget,
It's just, especially with black people, obviously we were taught that from slavery because white folks, let's just keep it real, in slavery, masses and these peoples and all them, they did some pretty,
heinous stuff.
We were dragged from stuff.
You guys saw Mandingo?
Yes.
They put the brother in the pot.
Right.
And boiled him?
Yeah, that's insane. Right. But so, while I'm going to do that to your mama, your daddy, and your baby, and whatever, I need to also teach you to forgive me. Because that's what was mostly taught to us on the plantation is forgive people, forgive your masters, this, that, and the other, turn the other cheek, let it go. Because if I don't let it go, what happens? I become a Nat Turner. I become a Nat Turner in that I'm going to wait till you're asleep. And exact some revenge on you.
But again, that goes back to what Jesus said in the Old Testament, the rules of the Old Testament. An eye for an eye.
Well, people don't follow those no more.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. The Christians try to twerk it and say, God said forgive. No, Jesus said forgiveness is what I would prefer you to do. But if you got to have vengeance, no more.
But then also, because I don't know what part of the Bible that comes from, but it also says, God says vengeance is mine.
Yes.
So it's not for you to take the revenge. It's mine.
Yes.
But then you have some other people like, I'm going to wait for you to get the leftovers, guy. Because I got,
Right.
I mean, especially like, if somebody was to do something to your daughter, that's like what I hear a lot of cases of, people raping people's daughters and kids and stuff. Oh, now they're in jail.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, and now they're in jail. How did they even get to jail? Yeah. Like, you're going to go to hell before you go to jail.
Yeah. You got to remember, in Jesus' time, he came to fulfill the law. So when he was out there preaching his ministry, they were still going by the old law book. That's why when somebody came to him and said, Jesus, should I forgive? I forgot what passage that is, but somebody asked him about that question, and he said no. I think it was one of the Pharisees. He said, no, you should forgive. However, if you can't, the old law says an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth.
Right. Well,
so, I mean, I'm of the old law. I'm sorry. If you do to me, I'm going to do.
But it also says in the land of Caesar, you need to do what Caesar asked you to do.
And that's what Jesus said.
Right, which is what that negates the Old Testament. Because in the land of Caesar, you can't just be running around killing people.
No, right. But see, my interpretation of that in God's law is like, if somebody killed my son, and then I go kill their son. Yes, according to Caesar's law, I'm going to jail, whatever. But in God's eyes, I didn't do no more or no less than what was done to me. That's my interpretation.
Well, it's considered a sin.
Yeah, no, it's a sin. It's a sin no matter what I do, because again, it goes against.
Yeah, so that, but again, when we can sit up here and chop it up about the Bible, which a lot of people
no. Well, the thing is, what I'm saying is, don't let this Christianity water you down.
Well, yeah, but that's unfortunately what has happened. We get it. We, especially black
because
people,
white folks ain't abiding by it.
Yeah, I mean, if that was the case. Forgiveness. Well, why do Jews celebrate the Holocaust and they never let you forget?
They never let you forget.
What is it? 9/11, never forget. Like, okay, but why is it always us that has to forgive? Even you hear people say it about slavery. Well, that was so long ago. You need to forgive.
You don't need reparations. That's not going to solve anything.
No, we're not going to forgive. I think we teach our especially if we teach our kids that, an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind.
Yeah, no.
Somebody pokes your eye out, you got to forgive them.
Not true.
And pray for them that they become a better person. How am I do that? I got one eye.
Right. Not true. See, and that's a bunch of that Christian bullshit that they try to spread to water us down. They say, the Sharia law in Saudi Arabia, they cut your hand off because you steal whatever. I've been to Saudi Arabia several times. I don't see a bunch of people running around with missing hands.
Well, that's because I don't want my hand missing because I know fat meat is greasy. And that y'all probably going to really chop my hand off.
Exactly.
I ain't going to be able to say it was just some gum.
Exactly. But
it wasn't your gum.
Right. But that's what I think the Christianity does. It does. They put on. It's not our natural religion to be Christians. I'm sorry. It's just not. Yeah.
It's just people. And you get into a lot of heated, unnecessary arguments with people who are of the Christian faith. I am not. They'll tell you, in order for you to go to heaven, you need to forgive. No,
I see motherfuckers heaven right here.
And that's what heaven is, if you really want to go there. But I mean, I get tired of seeing us on our knees, per se.
Yes.
Forgiving the oppressor. Like, these people ain't sorry. This dude has not even said he was, like, that's another thing people understand. Need to understand too. So like I was telling the person who called me.
What's wrong with you?
Forgiveness is a two-way street.
Yes.
First of all, the person that you're forgiving needs to be sorry. This guy here, that's going to be executed tomorrow, James King, he's not sorry. No. He hasn't even, he keeps saying he's not guilty.
Timothy McVeigh, was he sorry?
No,
he said, don't worry about the trial.
These people aren't sorry. Why are you forgiving people who aren't even contrite? They're not even saying, oh my gosh, and they're not shedding a tear over what they've done. If they're shedding a tear now, it's because they're going to die. And in fact, just a little trivial thing, the guy, Lawrence Russell Brewer, that was the one that was killed, or executed, I should say, in 2011. Texas stopped doing the last meal, because, inmates are death row inmates, the condemned, if you will.
Yeah.
They get this infamous last meal. And he ordered everything under the sun. And they brought it in. And then he says, I'm not hungry. And so they canceled the whole thing altogether.
Wow.
Yeah, because of him. Because of his friend. So no more last meals, It's
costing the state money.
Well, yeah, they said he did it big.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. Like, why do you care? I'm going to die.
He got the exotic. Yeah, he got the exotic.
I wouldn't even have the appetite to eat if I know I was going to die in 10 to 15 minutes or whatever. What difference does it make?
Man.
I'm hungry now, but in 20 minutes I'm not going to be.
Yeah, and see, the funny thing is when you know you're going to die and death is imminent, you have a chance to go to heaven right there. Because forgive me for what I did, whatever.
That's what they say, which is why a lot of times they do have the pastor come in and read them their last rites and all of that, or let's repent, and so and some of them are like, man, keep it.
Yeah.
What difference does it make? They
might already know the truth. They might
they might already know that, but who knows? But yeah, I always wonder that. Why are we so forgiving? Like, when are we going to be able to leave behind the slave mentality? Because that's what it is. The slave mentality of, it makes when they go low, we go high.
I mean, but that's what they do that to disarm us. They do that to disarm us. We forgive everything. Under the Obama thing, well, we got to forgive. We got to move on. Move on from what?
When they go low, we go high. And that's something that we've been taught. I know
Not me.
Master Jethro just raped your mama. Mm-hmm. But you know what? You forgive. You forgive and you let it go. God damn it, you let it go. Never. Otherwise, we're gonna strain you up, and then until you say I give.
One thing I've learned in my travels, the Middle East, stuff like that. It's funny when remember, I know we joke about this. There's two kinds of Muslims in the United States. Really, there's three, but there's two. Two kinds of black Muslims. There's the Muslim, and then there's the double Muslim. And remember I explained to you the double Muslim? The ordinary Muslim is the guy that is like, hey, I'm praying, I'm doing what I got to do, I'll do my time. The double Muslim is the guy that cannot wait to see Allah and he wants to take you with him. Okay? That's the one you got to worry about. But in all my travels in the Middle East, whatever, the one thing you could say, if Christians were like Muslims and actually believed in their religion, maybe they wouldn't be having all of this foolishness going on. Because for a guy to strap on a bomb and say, I'm going to heaven, and he actually believes that, man. I mean, I'm talking about his faith.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So.
But yeah, I mean, we gotta
program.
Yeah, it's the word I guess I'm looking for. Deprogram ourselves and thinking, even if somebody does the most heinous things to you, you have to forgive in order to be made whole. Like, I could not forgive you and go sleep at night and feel good. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, I'm just harboring what you did. No, I'm not. I'm not going to harbor it. I do believe in letting it go now. But I'm not going to ever forget, and I'm not going to forgive you because I am not going to give you, especially now, I'm not talking about some stupid stuff. You cuss me out, call me son of a bitch, whatever. I ain't talking about that kind of stuff. I'm talking about the unforgivable, I'm not going to grant you that. I want you to live with what you do. You will not get my forgiveness so that you can think that you're good now with me, that you're okay with me. Oh, she forgave me. We good now.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because a lot of my friends that know me, especially my military friends and people that like really know me, they know that I'm the eye for an eye guy. And I seem to not have a lot of problems when it comes to things because people know that I'm going to go for your throat.
I ain't no punk.
Yeah, I mean, right. I'm an average sized man. People say, well, he's a small guy. No, most Americans are overweight now. I am average size. So, because that's my mantra.
Right.
I'm not going to forgive you. You could come for me all you want.
We are just, I read the article about the churchgoers. Just the whole visual of it all. The picture has Sister So-and-so. I don't know her name. Sister So-and-so in her Sunday best. She's in her Sunday best, as most black women go to church, biggest hat in the world, on Easter. And she's standing in front of a charred, burnt down half of a building.
Wasn't that a scene in Mississippi Burning? Remember when they burned the church down?
They're having church anyway. And then somebody said, well, to continue to justify it, the church is not in the building, it's in us, which is true. But that ain't true in this situation. This man, burnt down 3 churches, and now y'all talking about, well, the church ain't in the building anyway. The church is in us. Well, how that
Then wait. I'm sorry. Then why are we giving money to the church fund?
I agree with you. Right. But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. They are...
Can I get my money back?
Using religion in order to let... to pacify this poor soul who must be sitting in prison, and he's just feeling so bad, and I couldn't. No.
Wait, didn't Malcolm X say that? Let's overwhelm them with our capacity to love. Our capacity to love.
They don't give a shit about that.
Look, you can love that white man all you want, and he's still gonna bust you upside your head
all day long.
And that's the blueprint. And that's why Malcolm said, I led my people into a trap. No matter what
Martin. Yeah.
No matter what you do to this white man, he don't care if you're a child. He don't care what it is. He will bust you upside your head. It is unnatural to not defend yourself and somebody's attacking you.
And when you do that, I'm going to forgive you.
Yeah, no.
And I'm going to get on my worn out knees and pray for you.
That is unnatural.
But to us it is natural because it's just what's been shoved into our mind forever. Forgive. You gotta forgive. You're not a good person if you don't forgive. That's just what we've been taught. And so automatically, like there ain't no way in hell I'm standing up at no news conference after somebody has murdered my loved one and say, I forgive them. Matter of fact, I don't even want them to have the death penalty. That's just how strong my forgiveness game is. No. Listen, let the chips fall where they may. Because I guarantee you, if that was my people, somebody that I was related to did something so heinous, dragged somebody behind the truck, their people wouldn't be standing up there talking about, I forgive you. If we went and burnt down Joel Osteen's church some doggone where, I guarantee you wouldn't be a lot of people says, well, I forgive you.
Right.
Let him go.
Mm-hmm.
That sound like Joel Osteen. Right. Let him go.
You got
Matter
that
of fact,
right.
Tell them to come do their community service here. We want to love on them. We want to show them the true love of Jesus. Yes. I mean, I'm just saying. So it's like we're often doing things that they're not going to do for us. Now, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. Just like we're not going to get ahead with that ideology of I need to be the bigger person here, because in a way, I think we think collectively as black people, we think it gives us validation. I think that also speaks to that we're more concerned with how they see us than we see us. It's important for me to have white people see me in a good light. And if that means me forgiving them, then that's how I want them to see. I want them to know that all black people aren't bad and I can forgive you. But, what about when Ray and Pookie do something to you? You be the main Negro on the news talking about, we just sick of this. They breaking into our church. They where they mamas at is all this black on black crime.
No, they don't say that. We want them persecuted to the full extent of the law.
Right. Or then, like I said, you have the black on black crime that's invoked. Oh, well, black on black crime. We need to do something about this black on black crime. And, they really took something from us. And, but it's like, you don't extend that same grace and mercy to your own as you do the people that don't, like if our concept, they're not even asking you for. You just get like here, oh no. That's like, me writing you a check. You didn't ask for it. Let me pay your mortgage. And even though you didn't ask, like they're not even asking us to do it. And we just like, that's okay, massa. I forgive you.
Well, remember in 1992 during the Reginald King thing? All those black leaders, Rodney King, all those black folks, religious leaders. Oh, we got to pray for these officers. We got to support our policemen. But you have videotape of this man beating this black man's ass. And you
really want to forgive that?
Yeah.
Why? Why are you teaching your
Generation
people?
Fail.
But that's what I'm saying. That comes. I mean, the pastor was the one on the case with the church on Easter Sunday, telling the congregation we need to pray for them. We need to pray for him, saying. Matter of fact, I'm gonna find exactly what he said, because I was just shaking my head like, is this Negro serious? Or he says, I'm gonna find it for you.
But that's what we do. What's wrong with you?
Make sure I get into the right photo album.
Yeah, you don't want to show that.
Right.
Dee has her audition photos.
He says, Holden and his parents. I think about what they must have been going. Holden is the dude that burnt down their church. Holden and his parents. I think about what they must have been going through, he said. I would hate for that to have been my son. And we apply they shit to us all of a sudden, How would I feel? I put myself in his place. How would I feel if it was my son? Can you imagine that mother and that father waking up that morning and realizing it was their son that did this? Can you feel the heartbreak? Now, this is from the pastor who's teaching this, telling this to their Easter Sunday service going congregation. That's what he said to him. And then this one lady, or I think it was him still, saying he could have very well been a black man or Mexican. It didn't matter to me that he was white, Harris said. He's 21 years old. What does he know about life? He just ruined the rest of his life. We just started praying for him, that God takes pity on him and opens his heart, and that way he'll have somewhere to go in his afterlife.
So did they have that attitude when Henry Tillman was killed? The boy, the black kid.
Emmett Till.
Emmett Till. I'm sorry, God, my mind is.
That's okay. And then one of the other churchgoers, a lady says, maybe in some weird way or blessed way, God had a hand she says, I feel sorry for Holden. He thought destroying a building would destroy our faith and ambition to be better.
That sounds like generation fail.
All he did was motivate us.
That sounds like generation fail. But, 14-year-old kid supposedly just looked at a white woman, and they didn't spare no quarter on that kid. None.
And Carolyn Bryant is the white lady who said he whistled at her or whatever. Mm-hmm. She recently, a couple years ago, admitted that she lied. I don't ever remember her saying she was sorry.
Right.
I don't know if she did or she didn't. I just don't remember that portion of her story, her confession, if you will, her saying she's sorry. But even if she did say she was sorry, because she was in her 20s and she's 80-something now. Mm-hmm. So 60 years plus goes by and you weren't
keeping
sorry.
Silent, right. Keeping silent.
You knew you cost this lady and his family, a loved one. Mm-hmm. And 60 years later, now you want to tell the story.
Mm-hmm. All in the name of whiteness.
And so,
sad.
We forgive. Mm-hmm. And I know I shouldn't be blown away by it, but it blows me away.
Are you just shocked?
Not even shocked. I don't know what emotion I'm looking for, but it's just maybe bewilderment. Like, are you effing kidding me? Why are we always that one? Oh, I forgive you. I want to be the one. Why?
And think about it. Out of all the cultures and groups, we're the only ones that do that.
Right. Well, it's because we've been taught to do that. We have been taught
in the
to
world,
do that.
Vengeance.
If the fact that you bring up Emmett Till, had that been the roles been reversed, had that been a white boy who was strung out of his house in the middle of the night, and all the heinous things that they did to Emmett was done to him, the lynch mob would have been coming to look for those dudes. You know what I'm saying?
Doubt.
They'd have strung up the murderers, but us. And I'm not saying this is true for his mother, and his family, Emmett Till's, that they did this. I don't know if they forgave or not. But it's like we just can't wait to find an opportunity to forgive.
And to show this white man that we're going to overwhelm them with our love.
Right.
How much we love them.
And like Common said a couple of years ago, we're going to extend the olive branch of love. Is that for us to do? Are we supposed to be extending the... Like, why is that our job to do that?
We're not the ones pulling people out of their homes. We're not the ones...
dragging people behind trucks.
Excluding people from public areas. We're not the ones... And
it's like, gee, why don't we think of that all these years?
Isn't that backwards?
Extend the olive branch of love, or just somebody else said something like that ridiculous not too long ago. A hand of, love or forgiveness or something to the oppressor. Maybe that'll change your mind.
Right. Well, I think that was Cory Booker when he says we got to put ourselves.
Because I'm sure there was a whole lot of slaves and people in the Jim Crow era, and hell, even nowadays. I mean, we see it even just with the recent example of Eric Gardner, who was murdered by the New York Police Department as he's choking to death. He's saying, I can't breathe. He's asking them to stop. So there's a lot of people...
learn next time, nigga.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who are asking for forgiveness all the way from slavery to modern day. Please don't stop. I'm sorry. Whatever I did, don't hurt me. I can't breathe. That hurts you. I mean, so it's like, why do we continue? Like, that doesn't work with them.
Yeah.
So now this white boy that burned down 3 churches, he's sitting in jail. Oh, maybe these Negroes will show up to my court hearing
and save me.
We don't want the press charges on him. I mean, man, you know what I'm saying? Why, to me, why not do that? Why not show up at his hearing and say, oh, we forgive him. Let him go. He's just a misguided youth.
Unfortunately, in our judicial system, the people that are in charge, whoever that might be, make decisions to keep us. If they show that this black man or a white man gets forgiven, then the white Aryan nation has no martyr to continue the race war that they want to keep us at each other's throats.
And that's also too is what James King, the guy that's going to get executed tomorrow. That's what he was trying to do, along with his Aryan Nation brothers. They were trying to start a race war.
Right. But I actually believe there's something going on in the country in the world actually, where you see things, things that are happening that is like, okay, like you got a Trump now. It keeps us distracted. Oh, this is happening. Look over here and look over here and look over here. And you realize they're robbing us deaf, dumb, and blind.
And not only robbing us deaf, dumb, and blind, but look at the things that's specifically going on in the black community. Let's just even say, no shade to anybody who's homosexual. That's not where I'm going with this. But look at all the homosexuality that we have going on in the black community. You see our little boys, they're little to us, but dressed like little girls, and they're just, the whole thing. You got mass incarceration of our black men is starting to be our black women. You got the wholesale murder. Wholesale murder of black men. And so I sit back and I look at all those things and I'm like, now, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but why isn't that obvious as to what's going on to everybody else? It is the annihilation of black people. And as Dr. Francis Cress Welsing talked about, the annihilation of the black gene, because we know that the world is becoming browner. It's not becoming whiter. And that all the things we see, especially in regards to the black man, it's really by design. We have so many homosexuals and homosexuality, I should say, promoted in our community, especially with black men, is because if you're homosexual, you're probably not going to lay down with a woman, and you're probably not going to procreate. Okay, we got them that way. We lock them up. Ain't no women in there. They're not going to procreate. They're going to start. And then a lot of times, too, you notice men, they come out homosexual, and they didn't go in there that way. It just became a lifestyle in addition to being locked up. Then we don't see those things.
And then let's talk about our women, where they are using Planned Parenthood as a birth control.
That's another thing. But Planned Parenthood, as we know, and that's really a whole other show, but we got a little bit of time. But, Planned Parenthood was designed for black people specifically. Now, it was designed for other people too, but specifically black people, to get rid of. We were considered a burden in society. After slavery, there was no more use for black people. And now we were a burden as far as white people are concerned. We need to get rid of them because it's costly and they're unsightly and a whole host of other misnomers that they created to justify killing us. And so, to your other point, now we have Planned Parenthood, and black women disproportionately use Planned Parenthood more than any other woman. Now, of course, white women have us beat by a couple of percents, not much. But there's more white women than there are black women. So you can say in a roundabout way we do it the most, because if we had the population numbers they did, we would be aborting babies more babies than them. Right,
and you have to ask yourself this. It's been 60 years. The black population has stayed steady at 13%, while every other...
The plan has worked.
Yeah.
And it's working.
While every other race has increased.
It's working.
Even the Asians are starting to catch us.
It's working. Like I said, sometimes, I sit back and I look at that. I'm like, gosh, when are we going to understand? Like, we don't have any more time. All these things are designed to take us out of here. Even to the point to where... lesbianism, I guess, if you will, is also rampant in our community. I'm not saying it's not rampant everywhere else, but I'm speaking about our community. It is rampant. It is. And so when we get them to not, procreate or be with the opposite sex, that lessens, the population.
Right.
So,
real quick, before we go, we got about 5 minutes to go. There was a video that we saw that Deanna showed us about a young lady who had no hair on her head. Now, as somebody, I'm not, I'm not trying to be funny about it. Okay. But I'm just saying, you as somebody who has a background in it, what was going on, and what.
Okay, so just to kind of veer off a little bit. So my daughter showed this video of this young lady, and she looked fairly young, but she was bald. Didn't look like it was naturally bald, but. Bald up in here, and her edges and stuff were gone, and then in the process, she was getting a weave or a unit, I guess they call it, put on, glued on and stuff, a lace front, I guess, if you will. And so, in the article, it said that she had alopecia. It didn't say what kind of alopecia she had, but I have a background in cosmetology, and I can tell just from looking that it was traction alopecia. Mm-hmm. Traction alopecia meaning that your hair is being pulled. There's tension. There's traction. And what's pulling your hair out to the point of permanently damaging it, which is why a lot of women, as you hear people joke about a lot, saying, "Oh, her edges is gone after her edges." Well, that's what happened to her edges. They were pulled out. As you know, in our community, we like our hair laid, fried, dyed, laid to the side. So a lot of times that consisted of us putting tight braids in or ponytails, and eventually the hair, especially around your hairline, is a lot more sensitive than the rest of your hair. It gets pulled out to the point where it damages your follicles and it doesn't grow back. Right. So that's what happened with her. Now, again, and I know that's not what you're doing, but a lot of times people do this thing I call hair shaming, if you will. You try to hair shame people, girl, where your edges. Yeah. But I think, to your point, because I think this is why you bring it up, we do need to educate ourselves and what not to do. Right.
I mean, if you want to do that, do it the right way. I mean, that girl looked fairly young.
Yeah, she was probably 30, maybe.
And I'm thinking, what kind of mental illness can you have if she didn't have alopecia?
Snatching your hair out to the point,
Right,
I mean, hair just, like, if she wanted to wear a natural hair, it wouldn't even be possible because, I mean, the majority, she had hair, like, back here and, like, some pieces here, but
she looked like Jason from Friday the 13th.
You know what? The whole part is you took the words right out of my goddamn mouth. I'm sorry. You took the words right out of my mouth. We've been spending
too much time together, but that's what it reminded me of. Right. And what I'm saying is, sisters, and I've been saying this from day one: you are beautiful the way you are. Nothing is that bad to where you had to look like this young lady.
It is. Unless it's a... But I agree with you in a sense. You have to be mentally ill. There's a lot of body dysmorphia and stuff going on, and this insatiable need to keep up. And, they used to say, if you can't grow it, sew it. If you can't do it, glue it. Can't achieve it, weave it. Whatever the case is. But
and she's paying for that.
Yeah. And so... we got to get to, if you don't have long hair, I mean, there's a way to weave it and not, pull your hair out, but just be educated about that kind of stuff. Somebody snatching you bald. Right. Like, I get my hair braided every once in a while. And when I see a plug which is why I don't braid my edges. Because that happened to me once. A plug came out. I was like, oh my God. Okay, that's probably not tight. Yeah, so I don't, when I get my hair braided, I'll make some baby hair, gel it down, whatever, but I won't wear my edges eventually. Right. So, I mean, we just got
especially around your edges, it's a lot thinner than your...
It's just more sensitive. Right. I mean, you could pull it right now and, some hair come out easy, but you just got to be educated. I mean...
and the reason I also brought that up was it also goes to show you the illness that we have. I'm not this illness, but I'm just saying we got to think about what we're doing in the community.
As we're making unnecessary sacrifices.
Yeah, our population isn't growing. We're doing genocide. Our edges aren't. You know what I mean? No, you know what I mean? It just shows you where we're at in our priorities.
I agree with
you. And what we're doing. And I, as a man, put a lot of the burden on that woman, since you guys want to be the leaders and all that other stuff. With leadership, with responsibility comes great responsibility.
Oh yeah, just be smart. Yeah. You can have the beautiful hair, Beyonce flowing hair, which was a great documentary, by the way. The Homecoming was a great documentary on Netflix. But you can have that hair, but just do it right. Yeah. Beyonce's worn weaves and wigs a lot, and that girl's hair was all the way down her back. But the point that I'm making to bringing up Beyonce, since everybody likes her, is she wasn't getting her hair snatched out. Right. She was getting it done right. Like if you go into your homegirl Shay Shay around the way, and Shay Shay ain't been to no beauty school, cosmetology school, technically speaking. She doesn't have, because a lot of times people don't understand. You got to know what you're doing.
You got to know what you're doing.
Because she might be able to hook you up, but if she done braided your shit too tight, and then when you take the glue off or whatever, and then she done snatched the whole front of your hair, and she doesn't know what she's doing.
And then what kind of glue is it? Is it industrial glue she got from Home Depot?
Right. Is it motor oil, engine glue? I mean, what is it? So you go to somebody who knows what they're doing. Somebody is going to tell you the real. Yeah, I know you want this style, but you're just going to snatch your bald. I can't put my name on that.
So it's just one of those things that we got to do. But that forgiveness thing, exactly. I'm with you on that. I don't believe in forgiving people that didn't ask for it.
Yeah, and I'm human. There's some things I'm not going to forgive you for. Yes, I'm just not going to. Don't even ask me, because I'm not going to.
Like I said, generation fail. When you see Uncle Remus and all these people talking about, I think we should. No, go the other way. Just go the other way.
Nah. You can't come burn my church down and drag my daddy or my brother.
We in here praying, and you just come in and shoot the place up.
Yeah, I forgive you.
It's not going to happen. So, and then when we have that attitude, they're going to be more standoffish against it because they're like, well,
they know that we're as humble as a dove. They know that we're that way, so they'll continue to.
We ain't gonna bust a grape.
Yeah, commit those atrocities against us.
Again, you guys want to check in. Demetra K. Sundays Facebook Live. We got a number. We're going to be calling out 951-489-7157, and you guys can call. We can hear your voice, so you could be like, yeah, that motherfucker.
Don't do that.
Yeah, but so we're going to be doing that Sunday, and check out the videos. Demetra K has a lot of stuff going on, and got any questions, answers, and comments, she's all there for.
Hit me up.
We'll see you guys again next week.
All right, then.
Love you, Tay.